Keep it going for Sam. One more time for Sam, go.
Thank you. Well, I can tell you the absolute moment that I realized that I needed to be famous. I was 10 years old, I was watching MTV, and suddenly there were these 5 guys in different colored silk Anthony Price suits and different colored hair and jazz shoes with no socks. And they were hanging off the side of a yacht in Antigua singing, "Her name is Rio and she dances on the sand." Yes, I am talking about Duran Duran, Simon, Nick, Roger, Andy, and John. And I just looked at them and I knew I needed to be a famous rock star just like Duran Duran. And I mean exactly like Duran Duran. So it almost became this sort of Karate Kid boot camp, wax on, wax off thing that I put myself through for the next 8 years. I dyed my hair like John, I had my fedora and my jazz shoes, I wore them to school every single day. I only ate Chinese food at McDonald's because that was his favorite. I watched all the James Bond movies because that was his favorite. I decided that if I just did everything that Duran Duran did, I could be Duran Duran. And in that way, I found myself very superior to all of the other Duranis because they just wanted to sleep with Duran Duran. But you know, I really wanted to be Duran. I was taking this very seriously. So I learned all of their songs backwards and forwards. I wrote harmonies and scat parts to them. I knew all of the band members' ages and birth dates and astrological signs, and I knew their heights to the exact inch, and I knew all of their girlfriends in chronological order. I knew all of their parents' names and ages and hometowns and occupations. I took the magazines that had Duran Duran and I would open them to the middle and very carefully remove the staples and then lift the pages out and file them into color-coded folders on my bookcase. I even knew that Duran Duran were tax evaders, which I had no idea what a tax evader was, but I was pretty sure that Duran Duran had a really good reason for doing that. So all of this kind of came to a head one night when I was 13, and I had found out that week that John Taylor got a rhinestone, or probably a diamond. He got his ear pierced on the left. And that same day, Z100, my New York station, was broadcasting the final concert of their 1984 Sing Blue Silver World Tour in real time, live, start to finish, with no commercial interruption. So this was like the closest I had ever been to Duran Duran. It was so exciting, even though I was in New York in my bedroom and they were in San Diego on the stage, but we were sharing this moment in time together like it was meant to be. And I decided to celebrate it by piercing my own ear by myself with a push pin in my bedroom during, well, I mean, I did sterilize the pin because, you know, I'm not crazy. So as the opening chords of The Reflex started on the radio, I turned the metal of the pin through a lit match to turn black, and I put it up to my earlobe and instantly burned the crap out of myself because I was 13, so I hadn't quite put 2 and 2 together on all levels. So I waited a few minutes and I did some dancing and Girls on Film started, and that got me more excited. And so I started again and I was pushing the metal of this pushpin into my skin as hard as I possibly could for about 15 minutes. And when I pulled the pin away, there was nothing. I was very discouraged. So I thought, all right, I'm gonna change the tack a little bit. And I started again pushing, but also twisting it, like really hard, like a little drill. And my left hand was like shaking from holding the earlobe so tightly. And I pulled it away again, and there was a red, bloody dot where the pin had been, and I was so excited. I was making progress. I was getting closer to my dream, being a famous rock star. So, logically. So I kept going for about another 45 minutes as the concert played, and then just at the moment that Simon Le Bon sang the final line of Careless Memories, the final song of the final concert of their worldwide tour, my pushpin in New York broke through to the other side of my eardrum, all the way through, I had a real hole in my ear. I pulled it out, and then I put it in from the back to the front, just to make sure that it went through, and I dabbed a little polysporin ointment on it, just because, you know, I'm not crazy, so I had to keep it sterile. And I put my rhinestone stud in, just like John Taylor, and I was so much closer to being a famous rock star. Well, it was about 2 years later when I finally started actually taking guitar lessons and writing music. And now for the past 2 decades, I've been a working musician. I've toured over 200,000 miles, and I've released 11 albums. Duran Duran have released 15, so I'm close, but I haven't quite. And plus 2 greatest hits compilations in a box set, but I'm not there yet. And you know, am I a famous rock star? No, but I am famous for one thing, which is that if you ask anyone who went to school with me, anyone who went to school with me 30 years ago, what they remember the most about Sam Shaber, it's that I was completely in love with Duran Duran. So there's that. Thank you.